Well, when you hear the word discipline, it's probably not a word that you immediately associate with Christianity. At the end of the day, to become a Christian, you are saved by grace through faith in the Lord Jesus, and so discipline perhaps isn't a word that immediately comes to our mind. However, what the Apostle Paul teaches in verses 24 to 27 of this chapter in 1 Corinthians is that discipline is a word that we ought to have in the forefront of our minds. Why? Because the Christian life, the Apostle Paul says here, is like an athletic race. And anyone who runs well in an athletic race has underwent serious discipline. And so if we want to run well the Christian life, similarly we too ought to be people of real discipline. Look what he says in verse 24 to 27. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives a prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Do you know we all exert discipline in different areas of our life? To you might be exerting great discipline in your job to make it to the very top. You might exert great discipline in trying to lose weight and stick to a diet in order to shed a few pounds for a little while. You might exert great discipline in your studies so that you might get a particular grade. We all know what it feels like to exert discipline in some area of our life. But the Apostle Paul says, if you exert discipline in all these areas of your life, how much more should you not exert discipline in your Christian life? Why? Because unlike all those other things, the reward that you will receive from running well in the Christian life, that reward is imperishable. It cannot spoil, it cannot fade. That's what the Apostle Paul says here in verse 25. We receive an imperishable wreath, one that will last forever. And so here's your challenge for today. What area of life do you find yourself exerting great discipline? Is it your studies? Is it your job? Is it the gym? How does the discipline which you exert into those endeavours compare to the discipline to which you exert in the Christian life? And as you compare, why not heed Paul's words? How much better is it to exert discipline in the Christian life to receive an imperishable reward, lest we be disqualified, as Paul says in verse 27. Only those who finish the race will be saved. Hope you have a good day.